It's showtime.
Down to business. I got my wild cherry Diet Pepsi, and I got my blackjack gum here, and I got that feeling. Yeah, that familiar feeling that something rank is going down out there.
Spider-Man does whatever a spider can. Spins a web any size, catches thieves just like flies. Look out, here comes a Spider-Man. Is he strong? Listen, bud, he's got radioactive blood. Can he swing from a thread? Take a look overhead. Hey there, there goes the Spider-Man.
And if you can't believe it, it's a Friday once again.
Good. You're not coming home. Where can I go then? You can go to the gutter where you belong, you filthy pig.
The stuff that dreams are made of. Huh?
Huh? New York. In a year when hope itself seems to have taken a swan dive off the fire escape, a metropolis more depraved than any Fritz Lang could scheme up, and one where misery and menace walk arm in arm, where power prowls the streets in tailored suits, and where the good folk, what's left of them, cling to the daylight like a dying man grasping at the hem of an angel's robe. Into this labyrinth of lowlifes and lies steps a stranger, a wall crawler without a web of mercy as a safety net. A boy, just shy of manhood, burdened by grief and driven by rage that rattles like loose shells in the truck bed during a duck hunting outing. Peter Parker, poor, persistent, perpetual punished Parker, reshapes himself into something the night itself whispers about. A masked mystery man of grit, grime, and ghoulish violence that barely remembers what justice is, as the law has looked away for so long. In the gutter tonight, we walk alongside him, awash in snow and retribution, past the crooked constellations of neon signs and broken dreams. Consider this your yield sign, a cautionary warning. In this corner of the cosmos, heroism isn't a shining shield, it's a serrated shadow. And tonight, dear friends, the spider stalking the skylines has traded spandex for the bleak, bruised soul of fedora-tipped fate. Tonight, the truth isn't stranger than fiction, it's darker. Welcome to the gutter. Everyone ends up here eventually. It is only a matter of time. I am your dutiful host. As always, Aldous. My co-host, ever present, is JP. JP, how do we find ourselves this evening?
Oh, it's a wonderful, balmy. Actually, how's the weather up there in Michigan?
We're in a warm spurt, man. We
nice.
had our first foray into the snowy realm last weekend, and this weekend it's going to be warm. So I have the utmost honor of being able to clean my gutters once again.
Oh, you don't want to clean the gutter.
Oh, you always got to clean the gutter.
Oh,
yeah. There's the ambient music that we've got for
nice.
NOIRvember. This is our second installment of NOIRvember. This is the first year we're doing NOIRvember for the entire month of November. And what did you think of the book choice this evening? Kind of the 10,000-foot view.
It was a sandwich made of all the things I like that came together to form a product that was lesser than its sum parts. I did not enjoy this. This is a not recommend for me.
This is it's a light recommend for me, and I'm going to get into why it's a light recommend a little bit later. But let's turn to the chat and greet our dutiful viewers. We've got scrolling all the way up to the top. Citizen Ronan, as always, starts us off with a little something I got to read here. We go, the note read, compliments of your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. I asked the Flatfoot if they knew who wrote it. Nah, he said. We found it pinned to those two thugs in the gutter. Well, greetings, Citizen Ronan. Thank you, sir. Kayla has joined us. What's up, everybody? Good to see you, Kayla. It's been a while. Henry Bemis is here. I have never read Spider-Man Noir. Well, there you go. And we're gonna get into some of the reasons probably why that might be, Mr. Bemis. Everybody's saying hi to each other. Snugs is here. Always a pleasure to see my brother Snuggy. And scrolling down, we got Awesome One saying tiny screen. Yeah, I think I messed something up when I set this up because apparently I'm doing both a horizontal and a vertical on YouTube. That will never happen again. I'll figure out how we avoid that. Snugs is using naughty words. And scrolling down, we got. I was jamming to that Spider-Man theme. I know. I found that. I thought, wow. I don't even know if that's a legit one or if that's an AI one. But either way, I thought it was pretty good.
Oh, I thought it was that guy who did the lounge singing stuff, like all the covers.
Yeah, it's Michael Bublé. But I don't know if it's actually a legit Michael Bublé or if it's an AI Michael Bublé.
Not Michael Bublé, the guy who did the covers back in the 2000s. I think Dawn of the Dead ended with his piano bar version of Down with the Sickness.
I have no idea who you're talking about. And that's an awkward pause. Moving on. We've got Kayla. She says, I've read 4 issues of the Spider-Man Noir back in 2009. It was a miniseries. That's correct. This is a 4-issue mini from 2009. Those are the issues we're looking at tonight. And we got, the new lame format mixed with the old format. Yes, indeed. Low Lifes and Lies, Kayla's laughing about. And Henry Bemis complimenting me on my alliteration. Thank you very much, sir. I appreciate that. I don't spend as much time on the little intro monologues as I used to because I got yelled at numerous times because they went on too long. So I try to make them just, nice and short and sweet. But Dale A is here. This is another dang split screen, horizontal versus vertical. They divide us to retain their power. Indeed, I promise I'm never going to do this again. I have no idea what happened. Everything's changing, man. X changed their chat, their /DM things. It's messed up. Notifications are messed up. StreamYard's changed their interface. I gotta find another interface other than StreamYard. That's what I need to do. But Awesome One says, I leave YouTube for a week and come back to this awful change. Yeah, change, unfortunately, is a standard in life. And sometimes it's not always for the positive. Kayla says, great opening monologue. Thank you very much. Henry Bemis informing me that I should never say warm spurt again. Well, thank you, sir. Warm spurt usually means a trip to the doctor, says Citizen Ronan. Belmont's joined us. Always good to see Belmont. And we got Dale A saying, awesome one. One new Nightmare streaming option. There's a better stream view going simultaneously. There you go. Scrolling down.
Citizen Ronan did find it. It's Richard Cheese. I found it too. And the full name of the performer is Richard Cheese and Lounge Against the Machine.
Oh, nice. Lounge Against the Machine.
Hmm.
There you go. Simone Basket has joined us. He says, oh my God, is that Nikki? I have no idea what he's talking about. There you go.
Are you Nikki?
I am not Nikki.
Okay.
Y'all sound so skinny, legend. Well, there you go. I think that's directed to you, JP.
I have not. What is this? Is this AI?
Probably. Ronan and Kayla chats aren't showing. You're probably in the wrong chat. Awesome one. You probably need to hop over to the horizontal chat instead of the vertical chat. Jason Sandberg is joined us. Good evening. Holy shit, did I create a problem?
Let's hear from you in the chat. Are you team horizontal or team vertical?
Oh, I think everybody's horizontal, hopefully. But I will fix this for next time. I apologize, but I'm glad I could cause a little bit of chaos because we need more chaos in our lives. There's not nearly enough in this modern world we live in. But indeed, we are talking tonight about Spider-Man Noir, the 2009 Marvel issue miniseries. It's 4 issues. Issue 1 came out in February of 2009, issue 2 in March of 2009, issue 3 in April, and issue 4 in May. Yes, yet again, we are looking at a book that came out in consecutive months. Amazing. I know. There are 2 covers for each of the 4 issues. Each issue had, obviously, its primary and its variant. This is the cover for issue 1, the primary cover by Patrick Zurcher. Get used to me saying that name because he did the covers of all 4 issues on the primaries. The variant cover was done by Dennis Calero. Here's the variant for cover 1, for issue 1. I actually like the variant in this case a little bit better than the primary. Primary cover for issue 2, again, Patrick Zurcher. Variant cover, again, Dennis Calero. Again,
Yeah, the covers for this were all great.
I like the variant a lot better than I like the original. Again, issue 3, cover, Patrick Zurcher. Variant, you guessed it, Dennis Calero. I didn't really like this one. I thought this one was a little too Sin City.
Sin City, yeah.
And then the final issue, I really liked Patrick Zurcher's cover for the final issue. I thought this was a great cover. And I thought Dennis kind of just phoned it in. I didn't think this was as good of a cover. It's just meh. It fits a little bit better with the story, maybe, but overall it's not what I was expecting. So on the secondary market, these issues are pricey. You're looking at about $5 to $10 to pick these up on the secondary market, or you can get the trade, which is over on Amazon. There's a link in the description if you want to buy it. It is a I don't know what they call that, influence and associates link. So I get like 15 cents if you buy a copy. It's $20, $21 for 264 pages. It includes these 4 issues. It includes the 4 issues of the sequel, Spider-Man Noir Without a Face, Edge of the Spider-Verse, Spider-Geddon, Spider-Man Noir video game comic, and Spider-Verse Team Up. I can't recommend any of the other ones. I'm just saying, hey, this is a whole hell of a lot cheaper option. It's about 264 pages for $20. So for your $1, you're better off buying this. And I can't speak on any of the other 4-issue series or anything else that's included. But this initial 4-issue run from 2009, we're going to talk about it. It's a light recommend for me. It's a light recommend for a number of reasons that we're all going to elucidate on here in a little bit. It was created, co-created actually, by David Hines. This is Mr. Hines. Hines is currently in his late 60s. He's a British comic book writer and artist. He pretty much is renowned for working on 2000 AD before crossing the pond and primarily coming over to the States to work for Marvel. He's currently working on a bunch of independent projects through Image. Fabrice Sapotsky is the other co-creator, co-writer. He is the founder of Fair Square Comics, which has published such books as One Hit Wonder and Ladybird. I've never read either one of those, so I can't speak to their quality. And the art on this is done by Carmine where is it? I've got it here. Giandomenico. He's in his early 50s. He's an Italian comic book artist. He's worked on The Flash over at DC in addition to this issue, as well as hundreds of Italian books. And but he does a lot of storyboard work. He's worked with a bunch of names, including Martin Scorsese and Hollywood on storyboard work. But he's probably most recognized in the mainstream for both Spider-Man Noir, and then he worked on the 2012 version of Punisher Warzone. And he's made some interesting choices on this book. And JP, just in general, what were you thinking about the art on this?
I didn't enjoy most of it. I don't understand why the lines are so thick. It's not pleasant to look at a lot of the time. But there's some patchwork images that look really nice, but a lot of it I'm just like I'm looking at it, I'm just going, ugh.
Yeah, we're gonna get into that for sure. Jason Sandberg says vertical in the streets and horizontal in the sheets. So there
Wow.
you go. And Citizen Ronan says I'm on a computer, so I have no idea what the F is going on. Yeah.
Just do Control Alt Delete, and if that doesn't work, just do Alt F4.
There you go. Kayla says Catwoman When in Rome, I think, should be the next NOIRvember. Well, NOIRvember for this year has already been scheduled. But yeah, we'll put that on the agenda maybe for next year. And Awesome One says, what the heck? I now see Henry and others like there's 3 streams and I can't choose which one I want. It's random. Well, that's great. I'm so glad to hear that YouTube is being cooperative tonight. Oh, scrolling down, what else we got? You can find these books, these back issues, fairly cheap. Well, oh, cool. Kayla's letting me know something. In my area, these are like $5 to $10 books. They're not impossible to find, but they're kind of pricey for what they are, in my opinion. Snugs is in the in-between. There you go. And he's in the Twin Peaks, and I have no idea how to get there. Ooh, there you go. And Ronan is not here. He must be on the vertical/horizontal. Well, there you go. There you go. But diving right in, let's talk a little bit about this, because the art on this book is borderline offensive at parts. and other parts, it's absolutely brilliant. And that's why it's a light recommend. And we're going to start showing it. This is the first page of the first issue. You open it up and you get to see this. And my God, I like it and don't like it at the same time. And that's the best way I can describe it.
Mm.
It's so weird. We set up later in the story. We're opening with a beat that's happening around issue 3, and we get a couple pages of this. And I liked this page, but again, a lot of the pages I don't like are really, really dark. Like it's just bathed just a little too much in shadow. And now I was looking at digital versions.
Noir. You know?
Well, let's talk a little bit about that. I don't think there's a whole lot of noir in Spider-Man Noir.
No.
In fact, I think we have to get almost 2/3 of the way through issue 2 before we really truly have a noir moment, in my opinion. And we'll touch on that when we get there. But I mean, and I like the general layout of how they're doing some of these intro pages. Like this one, I liked the font choice. I like the structure and the layout and the credits. And then we move into some of the action beats, and we get some nice art. Stacked panel work, really nice. We get some nice gutter line breaks. Had no issues here. We do a lot of establishing shots as well, where we kind of go out and we get that old photograph style. I didn't mind that so much. These pages I didn't have any problem with. I start having some issues here because we get that broken, and now we're back in present day, and we're catching you up on the story. Issues 1 and 2. I'm going to talk about it. Well, we're on issue 1 right now, so let's just focus on issue 1. Issue 1 of a 4-issue series, in this case, is all prologue. We're introducing characters, we're giving you background, and all they've done is, in essence, is take the Spider-Man Peter Parker story and pastiche it to the 1930s and adjust it just a little bit so it fits. But we're introducing characters. We're introducing who Peter Parker is. We're introducing who Aunt May is. We're introducing who Uncle Ben was. That's all we're doing. He's not even Spider-Man yet, which is okay because it's issue 1. But this keeps on going. We introduce Aunt May. Aunt May's a firebrand. She's a borderline communist, rising people up in the slums.
Oh no, so she would be scheduled for a helicopter ride, before we're halfway through issue 1.
Oh yeah, it gets worse, and there's no historical. The historical accuracy here is a leftist fever dream on what you were allowed, what would be tolerable to say, and what people would agree with. It's ridiculous on that level. Everybody that's wealthy is evil, and everybody that's not wealthy is good. Yeah. That's basically where we're at. We've got, and then we introduce more characters, and we're moving really fast here. I like the action beats at the lower portion of this page. I like the sound effects. This is a fairly well-drawn page. I didn't have any too much issue with it, but we get then another one like this where we're really busy, and now we're introducing the Black Cat character and her club. It's a speakeasy. And then we go around the room and we see how all of the players of high society, and we're just name dropping. Again, this is just prologue. It's just background. And it's not moving nearly fast enough. We're almost halfway through issue 1 and we haven't really gotten to any story yet. We're just setting things up. What this series essentially comes down to is a 4-issue mini. Issue 1 is prologue. Issue 2 is setup. And issues 3 and 4 are the story. And that doesn't work for me. That's why it's a light recommend. In addition to some of the issues that I had with the art. What were your thoughts on that, JP?
Which aspect of it are you specifically asking me about?
Oh, just in general, man. Go to town.
In general, like, okay, I'm not trying to sound rude when I say this, but if you told me that an artist came in and did all of these gorgeous backgrounds and backdrops and then handed the pencil over to a lazomat to draw the faces, I would believe it in a heartbeat.
That is, it does have that sense that, because you do, man, where is that? Well, like, take this, for example. Like, we're introduced to the Goblin. Norman Osborn is known as the Goblin. He's the lead gangster that kind of runs the town. And he's got his own little rogues gallery of people, right? And one of them is the Vulture. And the Vulture is basically an old circus freak, a geek from a sideshow at a carnival who was in a cage and bit the heads off of chickens. And he's that vampire-looking guy in the corner. But all of the rogues gallery people are referenced. And they've kind of tried to pastiche him over the top of everybody involved was a sideshow freak.
Yeah, sorry, I should have been more specific. It's the normal people's faces that just look awful. Like, if you go back a few, like, well, the actual... Sorry,
the whole art section of the whole art of the book is very... It's not consistent in its style. It's kind of all over the place. Because you'll get pages like this that are well laid out, good construction. I mean, he's playing with a 6-panel grid structure here. He's just using the top one for a long beat, which we talked about all the time. Long beats and short beats. It's a musical number. It needs to rhyme and jive with the dialogue. It's kind of working here. I don't have too much of a problem with it. This is the introduction of Jameson at the Daily Bugle. Parker's friend is getting him hooked up with a job. And that's what I'm saying. The whole first issue is just prologue. Like, we're hitting all the beats that we have to hit, but we're doing it in a very slow manner. And then we accelerate. Now we're talking, this is Parker. Parker's working. He's taking pictures. He's working with his reporter. And everybody's happy. And it's flowing well, and you get the nice inset. This is a well-constructed page. The introduction of the photos is nice. The fact that they're skewed, well, it's a solid choice. But then we go to a flashback over his friend thinking back to when when Parker's Uncle Ben was killed, and he was killed by the Vulture, and the Vulture's a cannibal for some reason, and it was extremely violent. But we get this kind of red washover, which I want you to just put a pin in that we're doing kind of that red washover, because later it gets a little confusing. Not too much later either, because we're closing in on the end of issue 1. And so we get the death of Uncle Ben in a flashback, and then that's the end of issue 1. And then we jump into issue 2. And again, we've got this super busy art style. It's gorgeous. There's moments of this that are gorgeous. Like that building burning in the center of the page is absolutely brilliant. But everything doesn't really seem right. Like, this doesn't jive with what we saw earlier, to your point earlier, JP, that the art's inconsistent.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'd say wildly so. What was I looking at? I think making the Vulture Rockefeller would be a little bit on the nose.
Just a little. But remember, we did the flashback with those Vulture pages where Uncle Ben died in red. Well, now we go to a red wash, but this isn't a flashback. Now we're in a dark room developing pictures.
Well, isn't every picture a flashback?
Not every picture is a flashback. And so Even
No, I
that's
meant like practically. It was almost a Mitch Hedberg joke.
Oh, there you go. I got you now. But we reached the end, and I liked this where he's starting to walk out, and you get a little bit of light bleeding through. That was a nice touch in panel 4. But in general, like we're not consistent now with our cross shading. So now I have to ask the question every time I'm looking at the page, which I shouldn't have to do. Are we in a dark room, or is this a flashback because we're playing with that red tint? We quickly move away from that, and we get into the crux of now we're in issue 2. We've already set up all the characters. Now we've got to make Peter Parker Spider-Man. So for some reason, Norman Osborn has brought in this weird spider icon statue that is a deity from another culture. And his goons are moving it around, and they knock it over, and spiders spill out, and they kill one of the goons. But Peter's there looking, and one of the spiders bites Peter as the goon is dying, and he has this transcendental experience with the spider god of the culture that built the icon. And instead of
African culture.
Yeah, and instead of killing him, it says it's going to curse him with power. And he wakes up, and then he's got powers. And then we get this really fluttered 12-panel grid structure of him being able to jump really high. And the first thing he does, without any setup, is to go and challenge Norman Osborn immediately. Like there's no change. Like he just goes like, cool, I can jump and have this power. That's neat. And then the first thing he does is goes and challenges the gangster leader.
Yeah, because it's
reasons.
Well, I mean, it's kind of it's almost a perfect metaphor for, I guess you would call it, Marxist activism, right? Just no thought whatsoever. Just like, I want to make the world great. I'm going to go do this now.
Well, and it's so weird that we spent an entire 20-page book on just introductions of characters, and then we spend, the first third of issue 2 on how Peter gets his powers, and then we immediately jump into now he's a vigilante.
Yeah.
For no reason, we're not spending any time on story setup. There's no... yes, we've established Norman's a bad guy. Yes, we've established that Peter is involved and angry at how things are going in the city and that the police aren't doing anything. But there's no jump that, where Peter goes, hey, now that I can do this, I could put on a mask and nobody would know who I am, and I could stand a chance against the unassailable might that is, Norman Osborn as the Goblin. That's gone. That doesn't exist. You're just supposed to connect the pieces.
Do you think it would even be possible to include an origin story and a story in a 4-page mini? I mean,
Maybe.
Sorry, four issue.
Efficiently, yes. And Student of God does bring up a good point. This is not a light recommend, all this. You're fired. It is a light recommend, and I will get to why it is in a minute. Like I said, it's a light recommend. Going back to the book, where were we? We were at... so he gets his powers, and so he jumps in, and then we get this, and this is where he's making the challenge, and then Peter realizes his friend is there, and so now he gets completely distracted from making his threats at Norman because his friend is there from the Bugle, and so he challenges his friend, but while he's out in the street challenging his friend, telling him how disappointed he is, the goons come out and start shooting at him. I liked this page. This was a cool page. Really neat shot of doing the perspective as the goons are shooting. I liked that. And then we have our first moment of actual noir stylings is at the end of issue 2. And that is his friend, Ulrich, he starts feeling guilty. Peter guilt-tripped him into doing something right. It's a nice line. You've got everything you want here for a noir. It's the stylings, it's the angle, it's the booze. His life's a mess. He's made the decision. He's going to make the right choice. He's going to do good things. And then he gets a knock on the door, and he goes, and he gets killed. Nice. This should have been how it opened. This should be where issue 1 starts, in my opinion. And then
I like how the antagonists are more of a detective than the protagonist.
Well, yeah, and that's the pacing on these first 2 issues is really bad. And then, of course, we get the reveal. The camera pulls back, and we realize that it was J. Jonah Jameson himself that killed his friend on half the page. And the other page, we get Parker's now, for some reason, in his Spider-Man getup. So these first 2 issues, kind of slow, kind of plotting, doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I think things picked up a little bit better in issue 3. Now, here's the other interesting choice, right? These came out in 4 consecutive months. Issue 2 continues the story from where issue 1 stopped off. But issue 3 starts off with a front matter that says previously in Spider-Man Noir. Did you find that weird at all?
Oh, no, because I usually skip through front matter. That's only you.
Okay. I found this weird, that only in issue 3 are we going to start catching you up on the story. Like, if you're going to do this, because they did it in issue 4 as well, why was there nothing in issue 2? Why are you only doing it in issues 3 and 4? Well, I think part of the reason is because issues 3 and 4 are the actual story of this mini. Issues 1 and 2, 1's the prologue, 2's the origin story, 3 and 4 are the actual story. So I think that's why they're doing it, and I that was a massive mistake. Like, this should have been, the structure of issues 1 and 2 should have been changed. You can't ignore issues 1 and 2, but you definitely need to have that background for 3 and 4 to make sense. But the way it's structured and the way it's paced just doesn't work. Now, into why I recommend this, why this is a light recommend. I liked issues 3 and 4 quite a bit. The art in issues 3 and 4, I think, is a step up. I think we're more consistent in our style, in our format, and our structure. I really liked panel 6 here, where you've got Norman's face kind of superimposed over the buildings, like he's looking over the city. There's some really, really smart stuff that happens in issues 3 and 4 with the art that I wish would have been carried over into issues 1 and 2.
Do you think that adding that front matter for 3 and 4 was possibly a performance issue?
Possibly. I think this sold fairly well from what I remember, but I did not look up sales numbers. I stopped doing that because I was always talking about sales numbers, and everybody said, Aldous, you're boring us with sales numbers. Stop. So I stopped. And now you're asking me about sales numbers. I find that interesting. But we also do go back to that garbage art. Like, there's nothing technically wrong with this 4-stack, but the art's just muddied, and it's not as clean as the page we just looked at. And it's an ongoing issue with this series. Is at times you get these really crisp, clean pages that you have no confusion on, and then you get pages like this that just seem like they're not thrown together. It's just overly rendered. And to your point earlier,
bordering on illegible.
Yes, and to your point earlier, the line work drifts between being like really, really heavy with a heavy shadow and really crisp and clean. And I don't think that's it. I don't think it works. I think I know what they were trying to do, but I don't think it works.
Which, if you zoom out on the grand scheme of NOIRvember, it's very funny that this came on the heels of a great noir detective story that was the complete opposite in every way, including the line work, which was very kind of like ethereal and almost floating.
Right, and that's a great point. Like, you look at this page and compare it to Nathaniel Dusk, especially like that, what was it, issue 2, where he's walking past the taxi cab strike, and you get that glorious washed out color that Colin was able to do, where certain things are accentuated and certain things aren't, but the pencil work is almost floating into the watercolor. Here it's totally different. It's the ink is so heavy and the color is so dark that everything just kind of it's like mud. But see, here's the thing. You go from this page to something like this, which is crisp and clean and just overly digital in its rendering style. And it doesn't have that consistency that I'm looking for in a book. It's very stark. The story from here on out, and this is page 19 of issue 3.
By the way, hang on real quick. Don't you love it when your detective character, has to learn everything out of a file that he didn't investigate? Like, isn't that great?
Yeah, this is a bed. Everything after this point in the story, now we are 2/3 of the way through issue 3, and this is where I have my compliments begin. I liked how things progressed from here out. And I thought there was some great pages earlier in issue 3. And I'm pressed for time, so we're moving kind of fast here. But there's some good stuff. Again, another page from issue 3. Again, you get that muddied sense of everything. Towards the end of issue 3, we get the realization that the Goblin's brother he can change his face, and he was actually J. Jonah Jameson. But what happened to the real J. Jonah Jameson? And now we're starting to realize that all of the Goblin's goons are hired from Circus Freak Acts.
Well, that's stupid.
It's shoehorning the Rogues Gallery into a real world reason as to why they're all the way they are, but it's still it feels so forced. It's that square peg in a round hole. If you push hard enough, eventually it's going to go in. That's this. But then we go to issue 4, the final issue, and we. So at the end of issue 3, Norman's going to take Peter out. It's not clear why he's going to take Peter out, because he doesn't know that Peter is the Spider-Man. But he sends the Vulture to stalk, but Aunt May comes to check on Peter. The Vulture attacks Aunt May, and of course, he's getting ready to kill, and then Peter shows up, and what does Peter do? Peter kills him. I liked that aspect of it, that Peter's willing to kill.
Yeah.
Because it's 1930s, we're going dark. We're in
then
that.
Aunt May says the dumbest thing ever.
Yeah, and then Aunt May has an issue. Like this freak, this guy that looks demonic, was about ready to rip her throat out with his teeth. And Aunt May is upset that Spider-Man, who she doesn't know is Peter, killed him, and starts guilt-tripping lecturing him for 2 pages.
Yeah. Because if you defend yourself, your enemies win. That's what Justin Trudeau, dressed up as Aunt May, says.
There you go. But we do again, and then we drift back into some nice art. And wait,
hang on. We can't zip past that, because that is essentially this book's version of with great power comes great responsibility. They not only handed that to Aunt May, but they turned it into some kind of you should never ever defend yourself, and guns are also bad. Which that is pants-shittingly infuriating.
I did not clip any of those pages because it irritated me. But now we are getting into the reason why this is a light recommend. And yes, we are. Peter, no, he's marginalized. This is why it's a light recommend. There is some good art here. There's some good stuff. The problem is it's isolated, and it's not in the context of story. It's isolated in pockets of issues 3 and 4. It's a lot of what I want to talk about, and what I have to compliment this is in the latter stages of issue 4 specifically. This is page 8 of issue 4, and I want to highlight 2 things that I really liked about this. 1, panel 2, the reflection of the characters that are talking in the glasses. Brilliant choice. That panel works so well. I really, really liked it. Also, panel 4, the reflection of the mirror. He's got his hand on the mirror, and you're seeing the reflection through it. Awesome choice. I'm sorry, the window, not the mirror. I really liked that. There's some really, really good art from here on out in the book, and that's why it's a light recommend. There's a lot of garbage out there that you can drop $20 on. This is not great, but it's better than most of them from here on out. There's some really, really cool art. We get this nice 6-panel grid, which I liked too, because the Black Cat character Norman touches her, and there's an immediate visceral reaction where she says, "I told you to never touch me again," and she strikes him. And there's the implied that there was some SA at some point that went on between these two characters, and it's mentioned later. And it's one of the few times in this book when there is an event that happens and Peter references it later. Everything else kind of moves kind of fast and there's not too much callback, but that is focused upon. And I liked that it was focused upon, and I liked her response where she basically says, like, it's none of your goddamn business what happened. Like, I'm offended by you even mentioning. I kind of liked that, where Peter's trying to like interject himself as this, like stalwart hero of like, I'm on your side and I'm, doing what needs to be done. And like, what happened? Like, you don't need to know, dude. Like, stay the hell out of my business. Like, it was a nice moment in the story whereas everybody else is always laying everything out, like she was actually a little bit protective of herself. It's like yeah, it doesn't fucking matter. Like, leave me the hell alone. Henry Bemis says, wasn't the pulp hero called the Spider? Yes, there was a pulp hero called the Spider who was extremely violent. And they are calling back into that just a little bit. Not much, though, because there's not a whole lot with how they've adapted Spider-Man into this vein with who the Spider was. And I'll get to some of that in a little bit.
So let me ask you a question. Well, or actually, no, I'll save it for when we're done.
All right. So we're almost to the end of this. And so then we get this, which is the fight scene between the two.
I really didn't like this.
This is a terrible selection to do. If you're going to do a 2-page spread, let the space sell it. Especially a vertical stack is just it's not a good choice, especially with the art on this up to this point. There's nothing wrong with this, like technically, that I could argue about, other than I just don't think it works as a double-page spread.
No, it looks like a bunch of bookmarks.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. It is. It's a bunch of bookmarks that are put together. And then we get the reveal that, oh my god, the Goblin is a hideous monster that was just been wearing a mask this whole time. Just ignore the fact that they didn't have latex masks that would fit that nice over a human face that was that disfigured in the 1930s. But hey, it's a comic, so we're gonna let some of this stuff slide. But oh my god, yeah, he's a horrible scarred person. And then we get our end, and then we get the lamest line in the whole series, which is saying something, because he says, I gotta pull it up on my side here real quick. The last line is, here, I'll read the whole page. The long, cold winter has finally ended. The Goblin and his cronies are dead or in custody. Roosevelt is in the White House, and J. Jonah Jameson is once more sounding the clarion call for liberty and equality for every newsstand in the city. It looks like nothing but good times ahead. Even so, Aunt May is still on her soapbox, still fighting for the rights of the common people. She knows there are still plenty of bad guys out there. The monsters are always with us. But that's okay, because there always will be good guys too. And in the end, when all is said and done, good guys always win. The end. So it's a light recommend, primarily just because of about a dozen pages across 4 issues. It's not for the story, because the story is sad. Now, where could this have gone? What could this have been? This is going to be the fun part of the show.
That was going to be my question for you. How would you do a Spider-Man Noir Spider-Man story?
So if you're going to do Spider-Man and you're going to throw it back into Noir, number one, you've got to do something that isn't done too often anymore with Spider-Man, which is Spider-Man has to become essentially Batman. He's got to become a detective. And you've got to play with that, and he's got to be unraveling the mystery. The Ulrich character in this, you need to merge the Ulrich character with Peter Parker. He needs to be working for the Bugle, and he needs to be doing a story only he's a photojournalist, so he's going to be taking his pictures, but he's going to be investigating something as a corollary. And then when he becomes the Spider-Man, however you want to do that, whether you need to, a better twist needs to be done other than the African culture motif that has spiders pouring out of it that bite him, and then the deity gives him the curse of the power, which is dumb. I think you make it like the Phantom, where it's a surrealist, almost psychedelic journey where you're not sure if it's real or if it's metaphysical at all. Is it all in his head, or like does he get bit and then just go on a trip, or like a psychedelic trip, and he gets some kind of essence talking to him? I think that would be a little bit more in vibe with this. But you need to have something. But essentially what I would do is I would wrote the Spider, as Henry Bemis and Citizen Ronan said. I would tap into that existing pulp noir stylings. I mean, that's a pulp character, not a noir. Pulp and noir are two separate things. And they're not that separate. I mean, people will say that like pulp has to have these beats. Well, no, pulp was a whole bunch of things. It was Westerns, it was romance novels, it was detective work, it was The Shadow, it was Doc Savage. That's pulp. Noir is film, and there's a certain beat that has to be in noir. And this kind of has it, but kind of doesn't. It's a pastiche of the Spider-Man story on it. So I would grab like some aspects of the Spider, and you need to have that ultra violence. But I would also, you need to have some kind of intrigue here. And as Citizen Ronan says, and this is vital, you need to have a leggy dame. And that's the one thing this is missing, is for a Spider-Man noir, you need to interject Mary Jane into this story in some way, or Gwen Stacy, and he needs to have a love interest. But she needs to be the femme fatale. Like, if you wanted to do this, man, use that stylings of Double Indemnity and have that femme fatale be something that drives Peter into a dark place that he's got to climb his way out of. He's Spider-Man. He's going to do it. But you need to put him at the lowest of the low at some point, whether he's framed, whether he's put in a position where he's got to make a bad choice. Or they just need to do something with the character to put him in that moral conundrum where initially he makes the bad choice and then he's got to make a whole bunch of good choices to get out, and he's Peter Parker, so he's going to make those. It's a little out of character for Spider-Man, but that whole putting Peter Parker in the 1930s and having him his adoptive parents be communists is not the point that I would anticipate that you would do that with. So that's how I would do it. I would take the ultra violence of the Spider, and when he becomes the Spider-Man he's going to extract vengeance from the city, because he's going to be tapping into that rage of the fact that Uncle Ben's dead. And you don't have that holdback. You don't have that hopefulness of the 60s, 70s Spider-Man. That's gone, because there is no hope. There should be no hope.
Well, my version is that the main character is similar to an Ulrich, and he is either a detective or an independent journalist, former detective, that Jameson hires to find out who Spider-Man is. And it's basically his story. He's the main character. He's the narrator.
Do the third party, so it's an outside source. But then you would that would be interesting. I like that.
And then at the end, he kind of learns how in the end, he does find out who he is, but he ends up just telling Jameson, like, sorry, man, kid slipped through my grasp.
Right. Well, that would be interesting, because now you could bring in like the Shadow. The aspect of the Shadow is that the Shadow saves and redeems people, and then brings them in as his cast of supporters, his information network. So he goes from an outside journalist that's investigating the Spider-Man to find out that Spider-Man saves him in the end from being killed by Norman Osborn, the Goblin. And in exchange, his penance is to now he works for Spider-Man. And then he goes to Jameson and says that line, kicks his feet up on the desk and says, I don't know what to tell you, man. He slipped away.
Yeah.
You know, that Parker kid's the only one that can get a photo of him. Maybe we need to put him on the payroll.
Yeah.
I feel like, I'm sorry. Henry Bemis says, I feel like Jameson wouldn't rock that mustache in the 30s because of the whole Hitler thing. Again, it's 1930, so it's
Chaplin?
before the whole Hitler thing. So yeah, it'd be more of a Chaplin thing at that point. So I think you would be rocking that mustache. And Henry Bemis also says, or sometimes they combine genres, as in the case of the ranch romance pulps. Yeah, and see, that's another aspect of it. With the Western being in there, you could, and man, that does fit JP. I'm liking your idea more and more of doing it as the third party that's narrating from the outside in and telling the story of Spider-Man's not even a main character in this. He's a tertiary character, the Ulrich character. At the end of the story, he's just narrating his experience of, I was hired by J. Jonah Jameson as an independent journalist to dig to the bottom of who Spider-Man was, and this is my story.
Yeah,
I think that would work really, really well. And it's the story. Norman Osborn still needs to be taken down. The Goblin needs to be taken down in his crime family, but the way they wrap it up in just one page here just feels too clean. And there is a sequel to this 4-issue mini. There is the 4-issue mini that follows this. But I have no interest really in reading it, because when you end on that note of like the good guys always win, well,
what's the
that's
point?
Where you're going with, why would I bother with anything else? It's not serialized, right? Like, we know that Flash Gordon is going to win in the end on a Flash Gordon serial. But every episode of Flash Gordon ends, as we watched on the Wednesday show, with Flash Gordon in a point of peril. And like, is Flash going to survive? Tune in next week. That's part of the fun. It's the same thing with the 60s camp of Batman with Adam West. That you've got to put Batman in that position where he's probably going to make it, because they're not going to kill the main character. But you need that edge, that lift of moving into it. And we live in a much more cynical age than any of the material was ever made for. So there is also that aspect too of we have to kind of check ourselves and just enjoy things for what they are sometimes.
Oh yeah, before we wreck ourselves.
There you go. Flash and his oily body sheen. Indeed. My lawgiver would show this blasted bug what for. Well, there you go, Judge Danny. There you go. And Aunt May annoyed me. Yeah, Aunt May and Uncle Ben. There's actually a line.
Aunt Mal. Wait, was that a typo or
Aunt Mal? I just got that. That's nice. So there's a line in this when he's sitting at basically Black Cat's club, her speakeasy. Ulrich's going through and introducing, pointing around the room. It's like, there's the mayor of New York, and there's this powerful person, and there's that rich industrialist, and your Uncle Ben organized strikes that shut 3 of his plants down. Like, well, that's great. We're almost at the start of the part of the Depression, and Uncle Ben led 3 strikes that caused that guy to shut 3 plants down. You know what that led to? All those workers no longer had jobs. So that's great. That's great work by Uncle Ben. Like, what was the... It's just, there's so many little things throughout this that were just... When ideology bleed... And look, man, I'm the kind of guy that if you read anything I write, you will... I always celebrate the individual. I celebrate anybody that steps up and makes a choice to do something. And in that respect, Uncle Ben should be celebrated. But dude, the reaction to your stepping up and doing something was hundreds of people lost their jobs. That's not a net positive. Like, you didn't do a good thing. Those plants shut down. Like, he was exploiting workers. Like, what?
Oh, Uncle Ben died? Oh, good.
Yeah, like, maybe those plants will reopen now. Like, what the hell, man? These are people that are putting, they're getting a paycheck and they're putting food on the table. Every capitalist, every person that owns a factory is not an evil tyrant to take down, because they employ people. Is there a chance that they might be underpaying their people? Maybe. But at the same time, the market exists in such a way that if you have enough talent, you can always go to another employer.
Hey, I didn't consent to that.
Yeah, there you go. But yeah, so it's a very, again, it's a light recommend. A light recommend. But I don't sense a whole lot of noir here. And I think that gets to the core of what one of the things I want to do with this series is to talk about what is noir, because it's not this. And this is just the first of a long series of Marvel books where they just took the time period of the late 20s to early 30s and started throwing their characters into that period and called them noir. And this is not noir.
No, in
There's
fact, I
moments
can't think
noir.
of many things that are less noir than collectivism.
Well, and I haven't read all of them in this series. The few that I have, they all really choose to go the praise the leftists and pass the holy hand grenade methodology of like we're gonna blow it all up. Like it just doesn't work. It feels just a little too
A
preachy.
little heavy-handed.
It's a little heavy-handed. Just a little. To quote our good friend Mike. But I think that is going to do it for us tonight. So this is Spider-Man Noir. JP says not recommend. I say it's a light recommend. Link is in the description if you're interested. Last words to you, JP. What do you think?
Hey, I hear there's a pretty good book we're going to be reviewing next week.
We are
So
next
make
week.
Sure you get a copy if you haven't.
Next week we will be looking at NOIRvember 2, the long and short of it. Or listen. Sorry. Listen.
Yeah, we're going to tear it to shreds.
We are. We know the author.
Asshole.
Still got to get a digital copy from him. I should probably pay you for that.
Oh, I emailed it to you. I think it's like 4 terabytes.
Gotcha. I should probably check my check my email then.
Well, let me know if the download expired. I can resend it.
Yeah, I will be. In fact, right now I will be dropping the link in the chat if you'd like to join us in the back room to discuss this book or anything else in the general scene of comics. We always hang out for about an hour or two and just kind of shoot the shit with anybody that wants to join. But otherwise, from us to you, we hope to see you on Wednesday. And if we don't see you on Wednesday, we definitely want to make sure we see you back here on the gutter next week for NOIRvember 2, written by none other than my co-host, JP. Have a great night, all. Take it easy.
This is blood for blood and by the gallons. This is the old days and the bad days, the all or nothing days. They're back. There's no choices left.
You're still here? It's over. Go home.